Welcome, everyone. It's so great to have you all here with us today. And I'm so happy and delighted that Puji, Tony, and Choi Dog accepted our invitation to do this special webinar for us. Tony is going to give us the overview about EarthRanger. Puji and Choi Dog are going to give us examples of the work that they have undertaken using EarthRanger in Mongolia. So, yeah, I think it's going to be very fascinating, and we'll accept questions from y'all after the presentation. So thank you once again for joining us, and I'm going to hand it over to Tony.
Thank you, Raki, and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all of you in the Snow Leopard Network. We're very pleased to be here with you today to present a special webinar about a new collaboration between the Snow Leopard Network and EarthRanger. And the agenda for today is that we're going to have a talk from our Snow Leopard Network team in Mongolia. And we're going to hear from Puji first and then Choi Dogs. And then we're going to go on to me. I'm going to talk about EarthRanger. We're going to have a demonstration of the EarthRanger tools. And we're going to go on to talking about a new tool called Ecoscope. And following that, we'll open up for questions and answers. So we have a very full schedule this morning. So we hope that this is going to be fun for all of you out there. And just to give you a little overview of the speakers. So we have Raki, who you met and you know well. And we have Purav Jav and Chodog Chamst and myself. The four of us are the presenters today. So thank you all for joining. And if you have any questions that you would like to ask, please type them into the chat. And we will answer those questions as soon as we can during the presentation. So I'm going to hand over to Puji, who's going to give our first presentation. Puji, over to you.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Rocky, and thanks for inviting me, having me here. This SLN network. Some brief talk about how we work with the rangers and for protecting wildlife, and especially in our Gobi area. And so I would like to brief talk about how Snow Leopard Conservation Foundation work for this field, and when we are beginning in since 2016. Okay, so before I start about to talk in the ranges, I would like to introduce for you all about the Snow Leopard Conservation Foundation, what we are doing here actually on the ground. So SLCF, Snow Leopard Trust and Mongolia program, we are working within two kind of programs implementing, which one is the conservation-based program. Second one is research and monitoring. That under that conservation-based program, we are doing Snow Leopard enterprises and a domestic marketing and a predator-proof corral program and a livestock insurance program, community other activities program, and then also rangers support program. And also we have both two programs, we have trainings for various type of people, which is that including in community rangers, community people, also secondary school students and protected area biologists and specialists of in wildlife field. And for research monitoring programs we are implementing in a snow leopard long-term ecological study in a Tost Nature Reserve, which is located in the South Gobi of Mongolia. And then under this program, we are doing an ungulate survey, which is that in a mountain in a steppe ungulate, which is the Argalian ibex and a gazella. Also, we are coloring of the snow leopard, coloring of the ibex, coloring of the livestock too. And then also we are setting up that, including with that support of rangers of using in a camera trap survey in those area. Also, we are doing in a plant and the vegetation surveys of this national park, and then also including of that support of the Rangers SMART program, which is that we will talk more today for our Rangers involvement of those programs. For this long-term ecological study of Tost, we are coloring snow leopard ibex and livestock I've mentioned before. And then why we are calling snow leopard, why we are calling ibex, why we are calling goat, which means that we would like to know that interactions between the snow leopard and the prey species. And then also we don't have as much of information of the snow leopard ecology and biology, some stuff, which means that we would like to know snow leopard territory and how much home range it covers, and then also snow leopard activity patterns. The snow leopard is active in the daytime or the nighttime, which is that in which one is more used, and also is that we would like to know that how snow leopard is choosing in a prey choice, and then also how they choose in the den sites also, and then which is that in we would like to the bunch of ecological question we still don't know lots of need to know that the snow leopard and ibex and livestock relation in that's why that our long-term ecological study is still studying of these questions. And yeah, that's in a map I would like to show you, which is that in a snow leopard coloring on our South Gobi is we as the long-term ecological study since implementing in since 2008. Since that time, we are coloring so far in 46 snow leopards, and then 1 or 2 snow leopards, and then they are traveling in the south and the north side, and they're trying to, looking for, and there's new habitat something. Okay, for a second, one of that important research is for we would like to monitoring of a snow leopard population, which is that we use the camera traps. It is related of that our community rangers who is helping a lot. The camera traps in the Snow Leopard Trust as Snow Leopard Conservation Foundation is that we are working with that in the nearest Tost Nature Reserve in habitat, which is that is for that's how it's close to the China border, and then also the nearest national park of the Greater Mekong, the north part of the national park. We are collaborating with them together and setting up the cameras for every year. And then that actually in the Tostassumboom Nature Reserve, it covers around the 2,000 square kilometers, and then we are setting for there in 40 to 60 camera traps during that in 90 days. On this, that camera trap installing on a mountain is we have in that national park, there is divided in 7 community rangers. They are helping us. They're setting up the cameras themselves, and then also the picking up and after 90 days from the mountain. And then they collect it, for memory cards and then sending it to our specialist. And so then we will try to help for how many population is there we identified later, and then when we have collected that information. And also is beside of that, in camera trap server supporting for ranges, we are also ungulate in step monitoring survey, which is that in prey server that ungulates of the mountain in a step is step ungulates, which the both of those are snow leopard main prey in Mongolia, which is that during that ungulate breeding season is we are doing an ungulate monitoring service, and every year supported by the protected area rangers and then community rangers, and together we are doing a service there. And I would like, and then for those are three surveys, and our rangers are helping us a lot. So is how in a smart connected with that connected with our program in. So I would like to talk about more in a smart connection now, but it's the more smart in your detailed information is Choituk will be provide later. So initially in when WCS started the SMART program in Mongolia, we joined for them in they trained in several trainings for all over the Mongolia specialists and the biologists. That time we involved on this program in trying to develop it in our rangers community responsible area, which was that in inside of Tost Nature Reserve. And that I think is that our main goal was that try to help in the capacity building of nature reserve in the community responsible areas, ranger support, and then also we would like to know in how to connect smart in the GPS between how the rangers collect in the real data on the field. So as we trained in several trainings provided for community responsible area for the rangers, and then during that time in that there were in the 7 rangers was there are the first initial training I provided myself for 7 rangers, and then later we invited Tony was that he was that responsible of the WCS Smart Connection, and then we invited the WCS people in Tony to our research area to help our smart connection data, how actually that rangers easily to collect that from the field. And then there's several trainings we've provided for the rangers, and then it was successfully they collected data from in a manually on a paper. And then since that time is smart is developed, and then also we our staff in the VR also ourselves is developed that our knowledge of the smart connection is increased. So in the we are trying to provide for community rangers smartphone. It was that in 2024, and then until that time is we are collecting rangers from data of the paper, and they're trying to the data entering process for manually for ourselves in a smart connection program. And then during the training in that act is for community rangers is who was helping to collect data. That rangers is so helpful for us, and they are collecting actual patrol data is how many the wildlife direct observation they found, and then how many illegal activities they found, how many the poaching or whatever, and any activities is that they found in during the patrols is that they got it. In this time is we just started that rangers patrol in 20 to 23 230 kilometers within the 2 weeks. But actually in the mountain system, it was hard to drive in a motorcycle to collect the data. So is that rangers wants to reduce that number of kilometers. So we just discussed together and which is the appropriate kilometers for them, and we settled it in Toss Nature Reserve, under the Toss Nature Reserve. I mean that rangers, community rangers responsible areas. And yeah, that's in a brief introduction what I have. And I think it's our SMART specialist chat will continue for that, the initial what data we have collected in real world. Thank you.
Over to you, Troy Dog.
Hi, everybody. I'm going to present to you a brief presentation of community spatial monitoring and reporting tool usage in snow leopard habitat Mongolia, especially in Totosumbamba Nature Reserve. And the map shows the location of community in red color and the Mongolian snow leopard distribution in blue color. Basically, we are working with 39 communities across the western and southern Mongolia in snow leopard habitat. Of these 31 communities implement SMART program. That's more than 23,000 square kilometer area. There are 7 community volunteer rangers in Tostosombom Nature Reserve. In 2019, we started using SMART program using GPS and data sheet, which of course was a lot of complicated steps, such as transferring, copying, and editing data. Then 2023, we started using Smart Mobile and Connect. This has simplified many steps and increased the activity of volunteer rangers. It also allows for a quick assessment of the result of rangers' work. It has also increased the accuracy of patrol data. We regularly conducted training and empower rangers. We also provide training, GPS, smart rapid phone, motorcycle, insurance, and support working conditions. Also, the best volunteer rangers are rewarded to motivate them. Unlike protected area rangers, volunteer rangers don't receive any governmental or institutional support yet. So the training and the material support we provide is very important for volunteer rangers. Generally, the rangers spend an average of 10 hours each month patrolling more than 100 kilometers. Regular patrols are conducted twice a month. Volunteer rangers rarely encounter environmental crime or conflict during their patrols in Tostosombok. If they detect any crime or conflict, they notify the Nature Reserve administration or some officer. And they only take preventive action. Community rangers are collaboration to support conservation management of Nature Reserve administration. And another valuable action that they can do is collect data on wildlife sightings. For example, in Tost, 1,400 sightings of Goitrud gazelle, about 600 sightings of Argal sheep, and over 400 observation of ibex. were recorded in different seasons and different weather conditions. We have collected data in the past during difficult climatic conditions such as droughts and so. By comparing this with data collected in the future where there are good climate conditions, we may gain important knowledge about the special occurrence of ungulated species. There is a potential to use regular patrol data to monitor species occurring in relatively open habitats. We integrated the TOST SMART program to the EarthRanger. We have only been using it since last June, but when viewing and checking data on EarthRanger, it skips a few steps compared to the Smart Desktop. It's insightful to be able to compare our colored snow leopards and ibex special movements and occurrence directly. It also seems to be quite useful in areas where there are a lot of violation and conflict. It's up to the user to choose which patrol observation to view. We have set up the observation to include violation and conflict and conservation target species. We started awarding 20 best ranger from snow leopard range provinces within Mongolia to combat illegal hunting and trade since last year. It's to be continued each year. Female ranger from one of our partner communities was recognized as one of these 20 rangers for stopping and preventing illegal wildlife poaching during her regular patrol. This was confirmed in the SMART program and through collaboration with the inspectors. Another highlight is these 7 rangers from Tostasumum were nominated by Snow Leopard Trust and awarded the Snake Conservation Hero Award for their conservation effort in 2022. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Choi Dog, and thank you, Puji, for your presentations. And I would now like to give my presentation. And first of all, before I start my presentation, I wanted to ask how many of you are using conservation technology tools for collecting data? How many of you are using conservation technology, and what tools are you using to collect your data in the field? Maybe you could type in your tools of choice into the chat box here. SMART and EarthRanger and Survey 123. Wow, you're using all of the tools. And what else do we have? SMART, okay. EpiCollect, Gaia. Okay, great. So my presentation today is going to be on a tool that some of you may know, some of you may not know, and it's EarthRanger. And my talk is going to be how we can use the EarthRanger toolkit to protect wildlife and habitats and communities with a focus on the snow leopards and their habitats. So I wanted to tell you that the organization that has created EarthRanger is the Allen Institute for AI. This was founded by Paul Allen. It's a non-profit organization dedicated to technology for good. And EarthRanger is one of programs in AI for the environment. And the organization is completely dedicated to open source, and everything that we create, we give away to conservationists for free. We don't charge anything for access to the programs, to the software, or the applications. So our EarthRanger team is more than 50 people, spread across all of the continents. We have people in all of the different regions. And I'm speaking to you today from our Asia region. I'm based in Australia. And my colleague Aki, who is also on the call, he's based in Cambodia, and Elian Adams is based in Thailand. The three of us are the EarthRanger Asia team, and we support all of the projects in this region. So what is the context in which EarthRanger is being used? So the focus of the work that we are doing at EarthRanger is to help people to secure protected areas and conserved areas and the wildlife in those places. And protected areas are essential to biodiversity conservation, but they're subject to a range of threats. And at the same time, managers lack information, up-to-date information on where these threats are occurring. So tools are needed to collect the data and to manage the information that comes from the data so that we can do a better job of conservation. So why EarthRanger? So EarthRanger is an easy to use, it's an all-in-one system where you can bring all of your data sources into one place and see them at the same time. It's real time, and you can also see data that's been collected in the past. So you get the big picture and you are able to see all the results that you need to make decisions. EarthRanger is data-driven, and I'm going to tell you about the three tools that are being used in the EarthRanger toolkit, the web platform, the mobile app, and I'll also talk about Ecoscope today. You can use any devices that you have available to use EarthRanger. You can use Android devices and iPhones. You can use any laptop or desktop. All you need is to have some kind of access to the internet so that the data can be shared. It's also no cost. Like I mentioned, the software is available for anyone who wants to use it. We also provide training and technical support for free. So here are the tools in the EarthRanger toolkit. First of all, the web platform. We also have a mobile app and Ecoscope. We also have a tool called Gundi, which is a tool for importing data and exporting data from EarthRanger into other places. And we have a tool called Buoy, which is a tool for ropeless fishing. And this is being used by people who are working with fishermen at sea. So the tools look like this. This is the web platform. You just need an internet access to access the data, and you can use any device, any smartphone, and any Android or iPhone device for collecting the data. You can do offline data collection or online data collection. So EarthRanger is now used across more than 800 sites in 80 countries. And we have a number of deployments in Asia, but we're hoping to have more. And you'll see that the region of Central Asia is a big gap for us. So we'd love it if we could support more projects in the range of the snow leopard. So why is EarthRanger useful? Well, first of all, it's a tool that's used for patrol management, for protected and conserved areas that have patrolling, where rangers are out there in the field protecting the wildlife. They are collecting data and they're needing to share that data with the management, and managers need to understand what is happening in the field. So EarthRanger is a tool for ensuring that data comes from the field very quickly and it is available for making decisions. EarthRanger is also a tool that allows operations management. So in a protected area where you have a room where all the data is coming into and information is processed, EarthRanger is a great a tool to have because you can see the data in the dashboard. And you can see the example here from one of the sites in Africa where EarthRanger is in the operations room, and you can see screens showing the different visualizations of EarthRanger data. EarthRanger is a great tool for wildlife monitoring, and I'm going to talk today about how EarthRanger can be used for monitoring snow leopards and the prey species of snow leopards. It's a tool that allows you to monitor the animals that you're studying, whether you're doing research or wildlife management, you can keep eyes on those animals and you can then know what they're doing. And then you can also get alerts that tell you where those animals are moving. You can use EarthRanger as a tool for understanding the behavior of your animals. And lastly, EarthRanger is a tool for connecting with other organizations, sharing of data. So you may have teams that you're wanting to share information with. Maybe you're an NGO or a university, you're collecting data on threats and you want to share that data with the enforcement agencies. You can do that using EarthRanger and ER-to-ER sharing. So you can share data with other organizations and other conservationists. And this is what EarthRanger looks like. This is a screenshot from the EarthRanger platform. So you can see how the data appears. All of the data sources appear in one place. So you see your animals that you're tracking. You can see your ranger teams. You can see vehicles. You can see all of these information coming into the platform, and you can see things in real time. So let me talk a little bit about the context of doing conservation in Asia. As many of you know, poaching and illegal wildlife trade is one of the big threats to not just snow leopards, but the prey species of snow leopards and other carnivores, tigers and leopards, clouded leopards, and dhole. All of these animals are affected by poaching, snaring, and as an example, in the 3 countries in Indochina, Laos, Cambodia, and Vietnam, there's about 13 million snares that are set at any one time. And these snares are out there and threatening wildlife. So one of the things that we're able to support in supporting the work of Puji and Chodogs and the Snow Leopard Trust in Mongolia is to help them to get their data on threats and risks to snow leopards into the same platform as the data that they're looking at that shows where those animals are moving. So as you heard from the last presentation, Chodog mentioned that SMART has been used as a tool for collecting information on threats. So that data, we can pull that data from SMART and we can see it in the EarthRanger platform. So as an example here, we can see in this dashboard here, we can see the locations where the community rangers have recorded observations of human activity, snares and traps, and at the same time, wildlife sightings. And we're also seeing the locations of where the leopards are and the prey species. Those are animals that are being tracked with GPS collars. So having the threats data, the data from SMART, in the same platform as the data from the tracked animals, the managers can better understand where they need to direct the conservation efforts to in the landscape to better protect those animals. Now, another aspect of conservation in Asia, as you know, is that there are lots of people and there are landscapes that have wildlife in them, human-dominated landscapes where wildlife is moving around and that wildlife is in conflict in some places with humans. So we have elephants in Southeast Asia moving in and out of protected areas, into villages, getting caught up in conflicts with people, tigers, leopards, and wolves as just some of the examples. So how can we manage these conflicts? So one of the things that is happening is that agencies like the Sabah Wildlife Department are tracking their animals and creating alerts using geofences that tell the manager when the elephants have moved out of the forest and moving into somebody's plantation. So then the agency can then respond and send out a team to manage the conflict and hopefully reduce the conflict so that the elephants aren't threatened. So this is a screenshot from the platform, the EarthRanger platform, where there are 9 elephants in Borneo being tracked, and around the clock, the information from the collars of those animals is feeding into EarthRanger. And when the elephants move out of the forest into human-dominated areas, managers know. In Cambodia, the Wildlife Conservation Society and the Ministry of Environment are tracking fire. They're tracking places where fire and deforestation is occurring, sending ranger teams out to those places to manage the threats. And in this landscape, there are a range of small carnivores, small cats. There are also dhole in this landscape and endangered water birds. And so using the information from Global Forest Watch, the managers can direct patrols to hotspots where there may be deforestation occurring. And in Nepal, the Red Panda Network is using EarthRanger to manage their anti-poaching patrols and to see where those patrols are and to see where fire is occurring and where snares and human encounters are being recorded. And all of this information is available through looking at this one dashboard. All the data comes into EarthRanger, and then it's exported where it can be used and made into operational decisions. So there's some examples of how EarthRanger is being used. And I wanted to tell you a little bit about Gundi. Gundi means glue in Swahili. And Gundi is a tool that has been created through a collaboration between Wildlife Conservation Society and EarthRanger and Wildlife Protection Solutions. It's a tool that allows you to bring your data from your camera traps, your mobile devices, tracking devices, and collars, bring that data in and then export it into another platform. And that platform could be EarthRanger, it could be SMART. So Gundi is kind of the glue that brings all the data together. So here's how Gundi works. So imagine you have a collared animal, could be a snow leopard, could be an elephant, could be a wolf. Your collar is transmitting data into the application. As long as that application has an API, it can be exported into EarthRanger. Camera trap data. It's also possible to integrate connected camera traps that are transmitting data across mobile networks or LoRa networks. That data can be filtered using algorithms that tell you what the image is that has come in from the cameras, and you can set alerts so that when certain types of images are detected, then they go they go into EarthRanger and they send alerts to your hand phone or WhatsApp. And I'll talk a little bit about that later. Another integration that we have with EarthRanger is iNaturalist and eBird. So if you have teams that are volunteers, communities out there who are recording observations of wildlife, you can integrate those observations if they're recorded in iNaturalist or eBird. We can bring that data in and you can see it in your EarthRanger platform. So this is a great way to engage the citizen scientists in your team so that they can share their information with your conservation project. InReach devices. So Garmin InReach is a tool which is a satellite tracking device that allows you to tell where your teams are and to know where they are, even if they're out of reach and out of the mobile network. You can still see where those teams are in remote places because the information from those devices, which comes out of Garmin, the Garmin platform, can be imported into EarthRanger, and you can see the locations of your remote teams operating. You know where they are in EarthRanger. I mentioned Global Forest Watch. So Global Forest Watch is a tool that's created by World Resources Institute. It allows you to detect deforestation and fire when it's occurring in the landscape. In some of the parts of the landscape where snow leopards are moving, there is some forest. And so if that forest is being cut down or if there's fire indicating human activity, information from Global Forest Watch can be sent to EarthRanger so you see where that fire is happening. So here is some of the integrations that are possible from EarthRanger. And these are devices, these are platforms, these are data sources that you can be using, and you can bring the data from those devices, from those platforms into EarthRanger. There are more than 100 integrations that we have available, and this allows you to essentially use any tool that you're already using with EarthRanger. You don't have to stop using your tools and start doing something else. You can continue to do what you were doing with your devices, but you can integrate the data so you can see it all in one place. And that's the beauty of EarthRanger. It's an integrated information management platform for wildlife conservation. So at that, I will move on to doing a live demonstration of EarthRanger. And please keep those comments coming in. If you have questions, if you'd like to know more, please type those questions into the chat here, and we will answer them as they come to us. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how EarthRanger works. So you can see the screen where I've got my EarthRanger mobile app. So what I'm doing now is I'm showing you what the mobile app looks like. So EarthRanger Mobile is a really nice way to collect data. And let me show you how it works. So I'm looking at our demo database here, and imagine you have your conservation area. You can zoom in and zoom out, and we can see where things are happening. So we can see the ranges, we can see wildlife surveyors, people who are in the field who are using the mobile app or who have tracking devices on them, or Garmin inReach. We can also see observations that have been recorded. So for example, here's an observation of human-wildlife conflict. It was recorded just yesterday. So somebody recorded a leopard was detected, and there was an incident involving some sheep, and that all that information is recorded here. So the nice thing is you can use the app to record data and to see where you are and what is happening at any one time. So I'm just going to show you some examples of how we can collect data. So for example, I can collect data by recording a waypoint and then selecting what it is that I want to record. So for example, maybe I want to record an observation of an interaction between an animal and the environment, and I'll select a leopard, type crop damage. There's no crop damage, but there was some livestock that was affected. Let me say some ducks. I can record this information here. Was there a human injury? No. I can record that. I can record all this information here. I can record the event area. So what I can do is I can select where it is that my incident happened, and I'm just recording the observation here. And I'm recording the observation here. So if I have an area where this event occurred, I can record it like this. I can move around the area and record the area. So imagine you're recording an observation of an area where there was a human or a fire. I can record that incident, and then I can record the area. So I've recorded the event area, and that goes into my my observation, and then I can submit that observation. So I've just submitted that observation, and we can see all the observations that have been recorded in a particular place. And here I'm looking at this area here, and we can see that there's one observation there, We can also record another observation. So for example, maybe we're looking at some fauna. We've got a camera trap. Maybe we want to set the camera trap. And I'm going to record that I've set a camera trap here. There we go. I've got my camera trap there. I can also take a photograph, and then I can submit that observation, and then it appears on the screen. So when we create events, we can create events in a couple of ways. One is by selecting the location from the map. And the other way is that we hit this button here called the event button, and then we can scroll down through the categories of data, and we can select what it is that we're wanting to record. And as an example, we have many different types of monitoring that we can record. A wildlife sighting, let me record a wildlife sighting, and I'll just record that I had, in this case, a lion. Okay, so I'm going to record a lion. I saw one lion, and I know that this animal was actually a collared lion, and maybe I have some information, individual ID number L10. There we go. And then I can add that as a note. And so there's my wildlife sighting. I can take a photograph, and while this observation is in draft mode, I can make edits. I can make any changes I want to that observation. And then when I submit it, then it goes to EarthRanger and it will appear in the system. So that's how it works. And if we want to start a patrol, we can scroll from the bottom up and we can hit patrol, and then we can start a patrol. As an example, I'm going to start a patrol, and this is my routine patrol. I can start my patrol, and there my patrol has started to happen, and the mobile app will record the track log, and it will record my route of travel until I end the patrol. And once I've ended the patrol, then I can end the patrol there. So EarthRanger Mobile is a tracking device. Even if you don't have a mobile network, you can still record your track log. You can still record all of your observations offline. So offline data collection is totally possible. And then you can, once you get into the network, then the data will go up to the cloud, and you will be able to see the data in the web platform. We can also change the maps. So maybe we want to see a satellite map. So we can see that there, and there we got a nice satellite map. Or maybe we want to see a street map. We can do that. We can change the base map to anything that we want that we have loaded in our system. If we have subjects that we're tracking, so for example, if we're tracking our snow leopards or we're tracking animals, we can also create layers that are the layers of our animals that we're tracking. Yes, so just going to turn tracking off, and I'm going to go to my subjects, and then here we have, in our demo database, we have elephants, and we have one animal called Horton. So I'm just going to go and see where Horton has been moving, and there's Horton. And let's have a look and see where Horton's been. So there's Horton. There he is. And we see there's Horton right there. And there's his track log. You see where Horton's been. And we can also see other things that we're tracking. So we may be tracking ranges. So maybe there are some ranges out there. We can also see the track logs of those ranges from the devices that they've been using to do their patrols. We can also see other vehicles that may be in the area. We can also see all of those tracked subjects. Here is, as an example, a rhino. This is a rhino called Fatu, and we can see Fatu. We can see where Fatu has been moving over the last few days. His track log appears right there. So all of this data automatically is coming into EarthRanger, and we can see it when we look at the subjects that are appearing there. So that's subjects, and we can see events too. So there are different events that you can create, and these are the events that I've just recorded. And this is a wildlife sighting that I just recorded. That lion that I recorded, and it will show me where that lion was detected. So actually, I recorded that pretty close to where I'm sitting right now. We can go to subjects, we can go to vehicles, for example. Maybe we have a patrol vehicle or a boat, something that has a tracking device on it. So there we've got a patrol boat that's operating, and we can see the track log of that patrol vessel. Yeah, so this is just an example of how EarthRanger Mobile looks, and it's a very configurable application. And the nice thing about it is you can do offline or online data collection, very configurable. What you see in the mobile app will be the same thing that you see in the web platform. And you can configure any data model for use with EarthRanger. When we set this up for you, we just need to create the data model, the categories and the attributes of data. We get those from you. Maybe you have a paper form that you're using. We can take that paper form and we can create a data model that you can use in EarthRanger Mobile for data collection. So that's a very quick overview of what the app looks like. Right. Well, that is the first tool. We've got some questions coming in here. Let me have a look and see. Yeah, good. Okay. Yes, so if you have any technical questions, please send those through. We are able to address any of those questions. Aki, my colleague, is on the line. He's our support engineer, and he's happy to answer any questions you might have. So please keep those questions coming, and we're able to answer any questions you might have. Great. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to then move to the mobile, to the web platform, and I'm going to show you how things look in EarthRanger. And I'm going to actually show the example from the South Gobi, which Troy Dog introduced us to in the last presentation. He showed us a screenshot of how EarthRanger looks, and I'm going to now share that with you here. So this is the web platform, and what you're seeing now is not current data. This is data that is in the past. All right, we're not showing the actual locations of these animals because, of course, we don't want to do that. This is data that happened in the past. So this is old data, but I'm going to show you, it is real data, but it's old data. So I'm going to show you the types of data that we can see in the EarthRanger platform. I mentioned events. So events can be animals that are moving. So for example, this snow leopard was moving a few days ago, and if we want to see where that animal is, we can jump to the location. It was moving. So this animal, F19, was moving on the 28th of September. And we can see its track log, and we can see where it was moving to. Now you can see what I've got is the track logs from that animal. This is the track logs that are color-coded for the time of day. So we can easily turn the track log into an animated version of what the animal was doing over the last 24 hours, the last 3 days, the last week, by looking at its color. So dark color is nighttime, and light colors is daytime movements. So these are events that come from the collared animals. When the animal stops, it creates this immobile alert that gets sent to EarthRanger 2. So we know when the animal has stopped, and maybe the animal continues to move later on. If it's stopped and it doesn't move for some time, that will also appear as an alert on your platform, and then you can investigate what's happened. Maybe the collar's stopped, or the animal has stopped moving. Other events are events that come in from SMART. So this is an event that has come in from the ranger team. They've made a record of something, and this has actually been reported by Choi Dog. So this is an observation of some wildlife that's come in, and he has recorded that, and it comes in with a date and a time. And if we're interested, we can go to that location and we can see where that happened, where that observation happened. So the rangers that Puji mentioned, they are out there and they're using Smart Mobile to collect their data. The data comes from Smart Mobile to the Smart Connect server, and then we pull it across into EarthRanger where you can see it in this platform. So it's a full integration of Smart and EarthRanger, but we're seeing everything together in this one dashboard. So I'm going to zoom in on these track logs here. So we see track logs of a snow leopard. This animal has been moving, and you can see it's the last movement that we recorded, and this is data that's delayed. As I mentioned, we're not showing live data, we're showing data that happened 7 days ago. So the snow leopard was there, and you can see where it's been moving in the past. So we've got it all there. The full track log for the last however many days we want to see. It's 21 days that it's set to right now. If we go over here, we can see the track logs of other animals. So this is Emma, which is an ibex. We can turn the track log on, and we can see where that animal has been moving to. We can also get a heat map to show the activity of that animal based upon its transmitted positions that come from the collar. And so we see this animal here over the last 21 days. These are the hotspots of activity. This is where it's been moving. There's 2 or 3 hotspots over here and a couple down here. So we can visually see what the animal has been doing over this last 21 kilometers since it's been moving. Yeah, so with tracked subjects, you get some really cool visualizations. You get these things called immobility alerts and mobility alerts when an animal moves or when it stops. And when it's moving, you can get this track log to tell you when it's been moving day or night. Other events are coming in from SMART, and you can see that there's other observations that are coming in from SMART. And those data are superimposed on the subject data. So you can go back and you can have the full history of data collection from your SMART patrols. You can see where those observations are in relation to animals that you might be tracking. So you can then understand what the threats could be to those animals, and you can then direct your conservation teams to those areas. So that's events. Then I mentioned map layers, so we can have layers that are, the animals. So, for example, maybe you've got your snow leopards. We can turn on the snow leopards, and we can see where the snow leopards are. If we zoom right out, we can see where the snow leopards are. We can also turn on the ibexes. There's 2 or 3 ibexes that are being tracked, and we can see where those animals are. So we can get a visual understanding of the whole landscape and how it's being used by these animals. Okay, we can also use different base maps. So for example, we're looking at this EarthRanger terrain map, but maybe we want to see an Esri satellite map. We can turn our base map into a satellite map. There's the Esri map. We can also have a Google satellite map. We can have different types of base maps that are used to visualize where our animals are moving. And that is a very quick overview of the EarthRanger platform, the web platform. So once again, this is a platform that we set up with its own individual URL, and access is only given to the people who have authorization to use it. So there's usually an administrator, a super user that is your team leader, and then you decide who gets access to the platform. You decide what level of access each user can have, and we create the administrator permissions. So maybe some people have permissions just to collect data and send data to the platform. Other users can analyze data. Other users can see all of the data, and they can change the data. So there are different permission sets that we create for different members of your team. Yeah, so please keep those questions coming.
One of my duties is to ask the question. Sorry about that. I think it's glad that some people question Arki answered. So I just leave that question. So one of the question from Kenja Sultanbayeva. She was, I think, the person asking, which organization do you collaborate in Kyrgyzstan?
Yes.
Yeah, they are using a SMART, but not EarthRanger. Could you give some more information about its advantage in comparison with the SMART? Can you answer
Yes,
that?
that's a great question. So thank you, Kenji. And we currently don't have any EarthRanger deployments in Kyrgyzstan. We have talked to Costa about setting up a project, but right now we've only had a discussion, so we don't have any people using it on a regular basis. We'd love to help you set up EarthRanger, and if you're interested, then please reach out to me. I think Aki has already shared my email, so just write to me, and we'd be happy to chat with you and to help you set up EarthRanger. So yes, no projects so far, but we'd love to support anybody who wants to use EarthRanger for their conservation. And even if you're using other tools, if you're using SMART, you can also use EarthRanger alongside SMART, and you can use the real-time capabilities of EarthRanger to turbocharge the value that you're getting from your SMART implementation.
Okay.
So happy to help any SMART users. Yeah.
Okay, for Ollie, who is asking about based on the South Gobi data, would you recommend shifting over to EarthRanger now for patrol data collection, or continue with using Smart Connect? What are the trade-offs?
Yeah, so if you've already invested effort and time in training your rangers, they're using SMART Mobile for data collection, maybe they're using the Mongolian language of SMART Mobile, keep using that tool. There's no reason to stop. You can continue to use SMART Mobile, but you can make increased value of SMART by also setting up EarthRanger so that you can bring your SMART patrol data and you can see it in the EarthRanger platform, and then you can bring in other types of data that you may be collecting. So maybe you have camera traps, maybe you've got bioacoustic devices, monitoring devices that you're wanting to set up. We can integrate those devices so that you've got real-time data coming from your connected camera traps, your bioacoustic monitoring devices, and you can see your SMART patrol data at the same time. Yeah, so it all depends on where you are in terms of the current investment. So hopefully that answers that question.
Also, one of other questions, Shibli Sora, who's asked that what is the expected operating time for this tool?
So the operating time,
I think it's that the
operating time.
RK has answered that.
Yeah, so the working years of the tool. So the working, okay, so the tool is available forever, and we guarantee that we will provide technical support for as long as your conservation project runs. And that's because we have the backing of the Paul Allen Foundation, who can support EarthRanger into the future. And we have a development team. We have engineers that work to ensure that there are new features that are built into the EarthRanger platform and the mobile app continuously. So the community is basically driving the development of the EarthRanger platform. And we take your feedback, and we can incorporate new features and requests into new upgrades of the software platform and the mobile app. And we're doing that continuously. And so, as an example, recently we released Ecoscope, which is the tool that I'm going to show you next. Ecoscope was a tool that was requested by the community, a tool to allow you to do reporting and data analysis. So that has just been released, and we had a team that was led by Dr. Jake Wall, and quite a big team has been working on Ecoscope for several years now, and that has just been released. So now that's available to all of you. Once again, it's free of charge. And if any of you are interested in Ecoscope, you can try it out, and you can link it with your EarthRanger data set. So yes, the tool does not stop. You can continuously access it, and you can continuously use it forever.
Okay, so the previous technical questions, I think, Arki answered on that chat. Thanks, Arki.
Yes.
And then also, one more question, Tony, which is that Alay Alba Balavi, the person asked that when moving from SMART to EarthRanger, is it possible to transfer the previous patrols in SMART to EarthRanger?
Yes. So we can take your entire database from SMART, and all we do is you will create the patrol queries that you want to see in EarthRanger. So you decide the queries. So the patrol observation queries, for example, maybe you run a query about snow leopard encounters, or encounters with snares, or with encounters with ibex, or signs of snow leopard prey. That's a query that you create in SMART. You upload that query to your SMART Connect database, and then we take that query and we'll pull that across. We'll pull the data that comes from that query into EarthRanger. And so that data, any historical data that you've collected, that query will be applicable to all of that data. So yes, if you've got a 10-year data set, you can run the queries and you can pull that data into EarthRanger. You'll be able to see it in EarthRanger.
Yeah, so I would like to add for Tony's explanation, and then also for in Mongolia, our SMART data, we would like to connect our SMART data to EarthRanger, and then and also we would like to include our camera data, whatever we have, some data, we would like to include it in the EarthRanger, and they would like to see in visualize data in one of that map, which is that really important to explain for the people. We would like to work for the future with the Tony and EarthRanger team.
Yes, we can definitely do that. And just to elaborate on that last question about patrols. So the patrols themselves, we can't pull the patrols across. So you can't see the track logs of your patrols from SMART just yet. That's something that we're actually working on. But you can see the results of the patrols. So the queries that come from those patrols that have produced data that allow you to visualize things that were observed on the patrols. But the patrols themselves, we can't actually pull them across, so you can't see the track logs. But like Aki has mentioned, we're working on that, and hopefully in the future we'll be able to bring in patrol trap logs. And camera traps, yes. So camera trap data, we have set up an integration with a platform called WPS Watch. We have a partner called Wildlife Protection Solutions. We work very closely with them. So Wildlife Protection Solutions is a small company in the United States. They work across Asia and Africa and other countries. And they have developed this platform that allows you to integrate your camera trap data with EarthRanger. So for example, if you're wanting to take your thousands of images of cameras taken from the cameras that have been out there, filter them, and just pull the data on humans, you can use the WPS Watch platform to filter the data using a machine learning model, and then pull those observations, and then those observations can come into EarthRanger. You can do the same thing if you're looking at a particular species. So maybe you don't want to get the pictures of the marmots and the small animals, but you're really interested in ibex. So using WPS Watch, you can create a machine learning model that can classify your camera trap images and tell the ibex photographs from everything else. And you can pull just the ibex photos, and those can come into EarthRanger. And Aki's put the link to Wildlife Protection Solutions in the chat there. So if you're interested in doing that, that's something that we can integrate for you. We can help you do that. Great. And what I'd like to do now is I'd like to show you the last tool in the toolkit that I have to share with you today, which is Ecoscope. And Ecoscope is a tool that allows you to create summaries of your data and analyze the data that you've collected. And like I mentioned, this is a tool that has come as a result of the community wanting a way to visualize their data, to summarize their data. So what you're seeing here is Ecoscope. And once again, this is a free tool that allows you to take your data sources, and you maybe have multiple data sources. So maybe you have, your snow leopard data set. Maybe you've got a data set from another place. Maybe you've got a data set from 3 or 4 different parts of the landscape. Or maybe you've got data sets from different countries, and you want to use those data, and you want to analyze the information that's coming from the data. What you can do is you can create what we call workflows. And there are 3 different types of workflows. First of all, there are patrol workflows that come from the teams that are out there using EarthRanger Mobile. They're recording track logs, they're recording observations on their patrols. You can also do workflows based upon events, things that happen on your patrols, or when your wildlife teams are out there making observations, recording observations of your key species. So you can do summaries of events. And then subject tracking. So the animals or the objects or subjects that you're tracking, you can create visualizations of those things. So 3 different types of workflows. And as an example, I'm going to show you my workflows. And I've created a workflow about the snow leopards. So as an example, I have created this workflow. Actually, I don't want to do that just yet. I don't want to overwrite it. I'm going to run the workflow, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. So here I've created a workflow about the snow leopards, and let me show you an example of what it looks like. So in this workflow, I created a visualization of the snow leopards by month. So I looked from January of this year all the way through to September, and looking at the movements of the snow leopards, I get some information on number of locations, total distance traveled by the leopards, maximum speed, all these metadata. And then I get some nice information on from these maps which I can zoom in on. So this is the month of May, and you can see these are the track logs of the snow leopards that were recorded. And if I hover over one of those track logs, I get information on the individual animal that was collared. So this was a male animal. It was walking at a speed of 1 kilometer an hour. We've got some information on the start of the movement, and we can see where that animal moved. So, and we have this little legend that shows us the speed of the animal. So you can see mostly the leopards are moving pretty slowly. Sometimes they're making big dashes across areas between their dens or their feeding areas. We can see the hotspots of activity where the animals are moving. This is just summarized over all the collared animals that are in this landscape. And then we can also see day and night movements of the animals. We see here the information from the leopards, and we can see the day and the night movements. We can see which part of the landscapes the animals were active by day and which ones they were active by night, and where they were moving when they were active at night. And then we can see the net square displacement. This is a kind of a measurement of the activity of the collar, of the GPS collar, which was on each of those animals. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 collared animals, and we can see the activity level based for each of these collared animals during this time period. So this is just an example of the kind of data that you can get. This is just a quick summary of data about the animals that were being tracked. Now, if I go back to my workflows, I can do the same thing with my tracked prey species. So there are some ibex out there that have been collared, and we can see the activity of those ibex. There we go. Once again, this is summarizing over all of the animals that are out there in the landscape. There's the hotspots of activity, and there's from a heat map, and there are the day and night movements. And we can see down there, there's actually just one collared animal called Emma. This is what Emma was doing between January and February. So she was kind of moving around and active, and then becoming less active, and then active again. So we've got some information on the animals that were being tracked. So that's subject tracking workflows. I want to show you events workflow, and this is an example of a summary we can do about the things that are recorded by the patrols. So I mentioned that the community rangers are out there. There's 7 community rangers, and they're using Smart Mobile. They're collecting observations. Those observations are being pulled into EarthRanger, and we can then see those as events. And if we go to each month, we can see what those rangers are detecting, and we actually see that there's a whole bunch of different types of observations. So this is observations of black-tailed gazelle. This is other conservation species. There's human observations. So we can see in which part of the landscape these observations have been made, and it's all summarized there. We also see that there's immobility events. So these are events that are actually coming in from the collars, and these are places where a collar stopped for whatever reason. And then the human-wildlife conflict, there's an observation somewhere there of something that happened. Maybe it was, somebody was trying to catch an animal that was in conflict with it. And those observations are also recorded. So there's an example of the observations that happened during that time period in the month of April. Most of the observations were black-tailed gazelle observations that came from SMART. Then there were some other conservation species, and then immobility observations from the collars. So these are all the different events that happened, and we can see places that had events, and places that had lots of events. So there's a place there that had lots of 4 different events occurring, and we can see the distribution of the observations. So that's a density map. This is the events map, and this is the kind of way that we can summarize data. And finally, let me show you patrols. So I'm actually going to, because we don't have so much patrol data that's been collected using EarthRanger Mobile in this landscape in Mongolia, I'm going to show you a visualization from a landscape in Kenya, where the Mara Elephant Project has been doing a lot of patrolling using EarthRanger Mobile, and we're going to summarize the data across 3 months of patrolling, and you can see how it looks. So here's summarizing the data from the month of January. I think this is January of 10 years ago. So this is just an example of how it works. So there's the summary of the patrols that happened during that time period. January, the month of January, 37 patrols. There were lots of events that happened. These are the track logs of the patrols that occurred. These are the different observations that were recorded: poacher camps, fire, bird sightings, injured animals, etc., etc. It's all summarized in this nice format. We can see the density of patrols, the spatial coverage of patrols during that month, and we can see the breakdown of different events that occurred by week. So this is the week of December, then first week in January, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Yeah. So that is a quick overview of the Ecoscope tool. And once again, this is a free tool. We'd love you to use it. We'd love you to ask us for access. Anybody who would like to have access, we can sign you up, and you just need to have an EarthRanger account and some data in that account for Ecoscope to be useful. Good. I know I'm aware that we're actually at time now, so we finish up here. And we'd just like to thank you for joining us today. And I'd personally like to thank the Snow Leopard Trust of Mongolia for collaborating with us. We've had a great collaboration for the last several years. First, we worked with them to do training of their rangers, and now they've been working with EarthRanger since last June. So just thanks to Puji and Choidog for the collaboration. It's been great to work with you. And we're looking forward to supporting the conservation work that you do. You're doing fantastic work protecting snow leopards. So keep up that great work. And we want to support you with EarthRanger tools. And to any of you who are out there interested in EarthRanger, please write to us. We'd be happy to we'd be happy to have a chat with you about your project and how we can support your project with EarthRanger, whether it be just to set it up so that you can collect data using the EarthRanger mobile app, or if you wanted a full deployment and you want to have the web platform and the mobile app for doing your protected area management, we'd be happy to do that. So just let us know, and we'll happy to arrange a time to chat with you. And finally, I'd like to thank the Snow Leopard Network for allowing us to be part of the network. So we've joined the network, and we're a part of the network now, and we're very pleased and honored to be a part of this network, so we can interact with all the amazing conservationists and scientists and researchers and people doing conservation in the snow leopard countries. So thank you for accepting us as a partner, and we're looking forward to working with you in the future. And I'll hand back to Raki.
Yeah, Tony, sorry. I think you missed one question from Raymat, who had asked, has the system also been adapted for marine context, such as landing site observation, vessel tracking, or even tagging marine species?
It certainly has, yes. So we are working in many marine areas in Asia and other regions. So we are able to set up EarthRanger for use in the marine environment. We have MPAs in the Philippines, in Indonesia, in Thailand. that are under EarthRanger. And we can also integrate EarthRanger with other tools for vessel tracking like Skylight. So Skylight is a tool that is used to track vessels, to understand what the behavior of those vessels is. And we can integrate the data from the AIS transponder data that comes in from Skylight. And you can use that to determine what is happening in your MPAs. So yes, EarthRanger is being used a lot in the marine environment, marine and coastal areas, and we can definitely support your conservation project if you're interested. And Aki's put a link to the Skylight tool, so you can learn a little bit more about how that works, and we can take data from Skylight and bring it into EarthRanger if that's something that you'd like to do. Thanks for that question. And of course, we didn't expect that question to happen in the Snow Leopard webinar, but it's great that it came up.
Suddenly saw it in there and I thought, oh, that's interesting. But thank you so much. I think all of us have learned so much from this presentation. That was really insightful and there was a lot of information. So thank you so much, Tony, Puji, Choi Dog. Thank you also, Aki, for all your back-end support. That was wonderful. And we're hoping to bring a more in-depth training program to SLN after we have more conversations with Tony and the EarthRanger team. So as soon as we know more, we'll let you know more. So thank you all ever so much. That was awesome.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.